welcome to the first edition of the In-House Musician, where I will just be talking about gear, guitar gear, music-related gear, anything that kind of interests me in the musical world. And today I'm going to start with my 68-69 Telecaster. This guitar I actually bought for my son when he was born 7 years ago. It cost $4,000 back then. Now I'd say it's probably over $6,000, depending on the market and who's buying it. You'll notice right away all this fret wear. This is not done by me. I mean, I did some of it, but the guitar came like this. This was a player's grade guitar. And if you don't know what a player's grade guitar is, that just basically means it's a vintage instrument, but it's not in anywhere pristine condition. It's got bumps, it's got scratches. Nowadays, the custom shop through Fender, you can get them relic, medium relic, or heavy relic, and they try to make the wear that an older instrument would have. Something that you would want if you were a collector in pristine condition. You know, it can be worth more money, but most of the players, I feel, would prefer to have an instrument like this. When you see an instrument like this that's got all this checks and cracks and it's beaten up everywhere, you know this thing was played, and that's what a guitar player is really after. I'm not after an old vintage guitar that looks perfect. I want something that someone has played to death. You're only going to play a guitar if it sounds great. And I'm trying to get it in. I can't get the camera well enough to see all the checking. I can try. There's a whole bunch of checking on the lacquer, especially over here. The arm contour, you can see it's been there. You can see kind of the lines of the checking. This guitar was really beaten up. When I got it, you can't smell it anymore. A little bit. This thing, I needed to air it out for I don't even know how long, because it just smelled like cigarettes. The whole thing just absolutely reeked. This yellow is not actually yellow. This is a vintage blonde. So underneath the pickguard, it still has a little bit like it used to be, but it was closer to a white guitar. Over time, it turns yellow and mixture of cigarette smoke. So let me play a little bit about it. Oh, I should tell you this. A couple things that have been changed over the years since I got it. The nut needed to be replaced. This is a new bone nut. The frets had to be done. They were so worn out when I bought the guitar. You couldn't bend at all. They needed to be done. So this is 6105 fret wire. I changed the saddles. I have the original ones, but I prefer brass. These are brass saddles, and the pots were changed. I have the original pots. The original pots were 1 meg. If you ever played with a 1 meg, it was like so bright you couldn't even do anything. So these have been changed to 250K pots, which is pretty standard. Three-way pickup selector. I'll just play something. This is, you know, if you want that warm tone. Middle position, brightens up. The one I use the most on this is the back pickup. Getting more of that telly kind of spank. One thing I want to say about this guitar that I love more than anything, these old pickups, especially the back one, it's not wax potted, and so basically the way they used to dip the bobbins in wax, or they do that in newer guitars, they didn't on this. And what ends up happening is, if I turn up the volume a bit, hopefully you guys can hear that, it becomes microphonic. So I'm just tapping the back, and almost the whole back of the guitar becomes a resonant plate. And that's really a different sound. love that sound. There's just something, it's so lively. It's unlike any of the other guitars I have where, you know, it's nice and it's rounded out, but I really like that live sound where it just picks up everything that I'm doing when I'm playing. Now, some people would say, well, why would you spend the money when you can get a custom shop guitar? I have a custom shop Tele, and I'll do a review of that guitar, and I love that guitar, but I love it for totally different reasons. Vintage instruments, there's something about the sound and the vibe and the feel. I think most guys will tell you, just because it's vintage, doesn't mean it's a great guitar. Not necessarily. Some of them are duds, but a whole bunch of them, this one being one of them, I feel, really has that unique sound of an instrument that's just been played by a lot of people for a long time. And I mean, you hear it. It's got a unique sound to it. It's great in the studio. Right now I'm playing through a Suhr Shiba drive and old vintage Princeton reverb. And I mean, this guitar is just great for in the studio. Tons of fun to play. I really enjoy it. There's something just, you know, great about playing an old vintage instrument. And if you ever get the chance, you should definitely try out playing an old guitar. There is sometimes they're just magical. Anyways, thank you for watching my video. This is the In-House Musician, and I will be doing reviews of all sorts of instruments and fun stuff in the future. And please subscribe.